Here to talk about the newest FDA-approved biologic for severe asthma is Dr. Neil Jain and Melody, a severe asthma patient. Good morning to both of you.
Good morning.
Good morning.
So, Dr. Jain, many may not be familiar with the difference between asthma and severe asthma. Can you explain the difference in how treatment varies?
Sure. I think anyone who has asthma would say that having asthma and feeling like you can't breathe is severe. But for most people with asthma, they can take an inhaler occasionally, or they may even be prescribed an inhaler called an inhaled corticosteroid that they may take on a daily basis to prevent them from having their asthma symptoms. Unfortunately, about 1.3 million Americans have severe asthma, and that's really defined by the need for sometimes very high doses of those medications. And despite taking those high doses of inhaled steroids, which can have significant side effects, they continue to experience symptoms. They may miss school or work. They may lose lung function. They may wake up at night or not be able to do the things that they want to do. And they may have something called asthma exacerbations, what people commonly think of as asthma attacks, that may require them to be on oral steroids to try to control those attacks. Sometimes they're in the hospital or the ER because of those asthma symptoms and because of those asthma exacerbations.
Now, Melody, what has been your experience with severe asthma?
Well, I was diagnosed when I was 14, and at the initial diagnosis, it was pretty mild. It wasn't until my 20s that it got really severe. The past 20 years, I've been in the ICU about 60 times, intubated multiple times. My husband and I, we've had to move states because the air quality was affecting my asthma. I've had to change jobs because of my asthma. Things like going for, just basic things, getting ready for work, going out with friends, all that stuff is kind of overshadowed by the fact that I'm struggling for each breath. So it definitely does play a big role in my day-to-day activities.
Melody, I have to feel for you when you start talking about air quality in different cities. It is just amazing that with climate change and all the science information we have, that we don't do something about that.
Yeah.
So, Dr. Jain, can you explain the potential impact of this new treatment option for people living with severe asthma?
Sure. So there is a new treatment called Tezspire, Tezspire, which is a different kind of medicine. It's called a biologic. These medications are typically injectable medicines. They work differently than, say, your inhaler or inhaled steroids or pills that might be taken for control of asthma. They target specific pathways that are overactive in asthma. In this case, there's a protein called TSLP that's produced by the lining of our airways, our epithelium. And that TSLP protein, when it's overproduced, can lead to uncontrolled or severe asthma. We believe that by blocking this protein, that you may have improved asthma control. And we know that with Tezspire, they've shown an improvement in reduction in exacerbations or those asthma attacks, as well as improved lung function and a decreased burden of symptoms in people that receive that medication. It's an add-on treatment, so it doesn't necessarily replace another medication. It's used on top of your background therapies in those that are over the age of 12. And as with any medication, there are the risk for side effects, including allergic reactions that can be seen with the medication.
Now, Melody, what advice can you provide people who have recently diagnosed with severe asthma and are looking for support?
I would say definitely get with an asthma specialist, one that you can work well with. Get a good asthma support group. For me, I belong to one on Facebook, and they've been a lifeline for me. Get plenty of rest, eat healthy, drink lots of water, get outside, go for walks, follow your asthma action plan, stay positive. And, for me, I have severe asthma, but I definitely don't let it define who I am.
Melody, I like that. It's basically the basics of staying healthy, right?
Correct, indeed.
Dr. Jain, where can people learn more about Tezspire or severe asthma?
Sure. So there is a website, www.tezspire. Again, that's Tezspire tezspire.com. And there's, again, information about Tezspire as well as information about severe asthma in general at that website.
Now, Dr. Jane or Melody, either one of you can answer this, just as because we brought it up as far as air quality. Which part of the country has good air quality and which one has bad air quality?
I'm going to let you field that one.
Yeah, so I mean, I think, generally speaking, less urban and populated areas are going to have better air quality when it comes to pollution and things like diesel exhaust and particulate matter. Certainly, if you're living in a coastal area where you have, air blowing off the ocean, you're going to have less of those sorts of the impact of those sorts of things. I would say that if it's frozen outside and you don't have a lot of people around you and you don't have a lot of cars or, highways, those are going to be places where you're going to have less pollution. Or again, if you've got that nice fresh air coming off the coast, you're going to have, better air quality in those areas.
Dr. Jane, Melody, thank you so much for joining us on Morning Blend. I live in the Midwest, so I live in St. Louis, so the air quality here is up and down.
Yeah, same for here.
Yep.